been.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Bedewonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, it's been a crazy day. First of all, we have Hoth has returned to where we live. I didn't make it past the first marker, as usual. How's your day been, and as far as that's concerned, the weather's concerned?
I have been shoveling all goddamn day. In between everything else I'm doing, I've been running out. I'm like, I'll just do a little at a time. That was my big plan, but it was snowing. So doing a little at a time, and you're just, every time you go out there, it's like you've done nothing.
Exactly.
Until now. Now I think it's safe to go shovel, and it's heavy snow.
Heavy snow. The plows are out. The shovels are out. I mean, I'm thinking, that we didn't see very many plows or shovels in Empire Strikes Back. They didn't. I don't know how they took care of that. They must have had some kind of cleaning crews going around plowing and making sure that they could get their equipment around, right?
Well, it's funny you should mention. I'm wearing my Chewbacca on Hoth shirt.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's nice.
It was I bought it at the Levi's store. I was like, I'll wear it on days when there's a blizzard, not knowing that there would be a pandemic and it wouldn't even matter anymore what shirts you wore at home. But I wore it today anyway, and it really is Hoth-like out there. I did a little TikTok today of my annual. Normally, it's not on TikTok. It's a photo of the Wampa standing in the snow. And I do it once a year, whether I want to do it or not. It's beside the point. And so today I did a little TikTok with the little Wampa and little Luke standing in the snow together, wishing us a Merry Christmas on November 12th.
And it's actually kind of perfect timing here because, in Canada anyway, November 12th is kind of the day that people start to really think about Christmas and that kind of stuff because of Remembrance Day, right? So this is it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas as of today because we have the weather, and of course everyone else is going to start. Now we're going to get the Christmas music on the radio, and we're going to get the Hallmark Christmas movies and all that fun stuff coming in the next 6 weeks or so. But what we are doing, we're not doing any of that stuff. We're watching the Star Wars movies again. We started doing it this week. We are going to talk about The Phantom Menace, which we both watched this week. But there's been a ton of, it's also Disney Plus Day, Kenton.
Yeah, it is. It's Disney Plus Day. And we're unwrapping all the gifts under the Disney Plus tree. So far, there have only been two.
And you texted me, it's D Plus Day, and I thought you were talking about our students. And that popped up on my screen.
Letter grade.
That popped up on my screen as I was teaching. I'm like, I hope my students didn't see that. Kenton just said it's D Plus Day. They're gonna get freaked out.
No, and then you said, oh, I thought that you meant Marks. And I went, no, that's F Day. I said jokingly, ha ha ha. But I did not mean. I was absolutely talking about Disney Plus.
Right. So what do they do today? Now, there's a whole bunch of non-Star Wars related stuff. We're not going to really talk about it. Go to DisneyPlus.com. You can see all the other crap they put up there. But for Star Wars, let's talk about the teaser first. What happened with that? Because you said it was leaked.
Well, yeah, last night, I saw online, somebody said the teaser for Obi-Wan's been leaked. And then I went to YouTube and yeah, there it was. Like it was there. Probably 100 different people had it at that point. I mean, I was a little late. Mm-hmm. I didn't check Twitter till later yesterday. So yeah, it had leaked and people had captured it, and you could watch. The one that I saw last night was like a sort of a lower res version, but it was fine. I mean, I sort of got the gist of it. And since there was no real new live action footage other than behind the scenes, like I wasn't like blown away by it. And I've heard enough rumors. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy herself said it's the rematch of the century. Like, what else could that mean? So we knew that going in, the rematch of the century. Some people appear to be surprised by that.
Really?
Yeah.
That like Darth Vader's in it? That they're going to fight each other again?
They thought that it would just be like flashbacks or...
Well, that's kind of what I thought too, to be honest. I didn't think they would actually get Hayden Christensen back in the suit. Well, he was never in the suit. Well, he was maybe for that one scene, he was in the suit. It was him in the suit. Okay, so, get him back in the suit. I did think it was going to be flashbacks. Yeah, so Darth Vader is a character in this show.
Yeah, he's a character in the show, and we will get, and when in A New Hope, when he said, when I last left you, I was but a learner, but I am the master now. Only the master of evil's hath. Like that, they were not referring to the battle on Mustafar. They were referring to a different battle, which we have not seen. And so I look forward to Obi-Wan tossing around Darth Vader like a rag doll, left and right, and handing him his ass.
Sure.
But how Darth Vader gets away to fight him another time, I mean, like how they're gonna turn that into something is going to be interesting.
We know though, regardless of what the conflict is, we know they both survive it, right? So yeah, something's going to happen, but we just don't know what it is. Okay, let's watch it first. It's only a minute long, and then we'll just talk about what we see here in this. And you can, I'll share my screen here so you can see it too. 1 second here. And it was weird that we were just saying this before we started recording the podcast that you said it was leaked and it was on YouTube and then it went up on Disney Plus, but it's not like apparent. You have to search for it on Disney Plus. It's not like on the Star Wars page or anything, which is kind of weird.
It was there on my home screen momentarily.
Okay.
Like when I texted you, I was like, oh, they got the trailer here too, or the sizzle reel, I guess it is. And then it was gone. Then it was gone. No sooner. I must have just hit it at a weird time. And then I searched it and there it was again. So, hey, you tell me. I don't know what's happening with that today.
You have to just, maybe it'll show up there later, but for now, and even now as I just found it, I had to search for it as well. So that's, if you need to find it, that's how you get it. Okay, here we go.
There's a hunger for this character to come back. The fans have been waiting long enough, you know?
Something that's extremely exciting is the return of obviously Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is quite a dark time that we're coming into with him. Just being a Jedi, it's not safe. There's Jedi hunters out there.
At least he has this one task left, which is to keep Luke safe.
That's definitely a starting place for our story. The interesting thing is going to be where it goes from there.
The most beautiful thing of all is that it's brought me back together with Hayden.
We are bringing back Hayden Christensen to reprise the role of Darth Vader. We couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi without addressing Anakin or Vader.
Have another swing at each other might be quite satisfying for everybody. We hope that you enjoy it as much as we enjoy making it.
Now, there's a lot of concept art in this, right? So one of the concept art pieces is Darth Vader fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader in his suit, which we have not seen in this, right? Because he was not in the suit when they fought on Mustafar. But this, and then what they did just now is they cut a shot from that scene of Obi-Wan together with I think it's from Empire Strikes Back of Darth Vader. I'm pretty sure that's what they did there. It's just they cut two scenes from two different movies together to make it look like they were going to fight each other, which I thought was kind of funny.
Oh, I don't think I noticed that. I think I was just like trying to concentrate on the new details.
I mean, if you just look at this shot, like this is that's clearly Luke. That's clearly Luke's lightsaber, right? But then they cut back to this shot of Ewan, this shot of right. So that's anyway, but yeah, but we will see it though. I'm excited. We actually will see Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fight for reals this time, because the one we saw in the very first movie was not a great lightsaber battle, right?
Whatever you thought of that, what stands out to me about the art that we see is they're back on Mustafar, maybe.
Yeah, I'll find it. You keep talking, I'll find it. Do
you think Obi-Wan tracks Darth Vader to his castle?
Well, here it is. He must have to do something like that. Yeah, that's clearly Mustafar, unless it's another. Well, it's, we have these planets that all kind of look the same, and there's the lava planet, there's the forest planet, and the water planet, and Mustafar has been established as the lava planet, right? And there's lots of like fire, or maybe it could just be a fire in the background. Maybe that's all it is, right? Maybe I'm not.
It could just be but it looks like tons of fire.
Yeah, something's burning there, and that could just be Mustafar. But it's cool to see this, and it does look very, very cool to see Obi-Wan's blue lightsaber and Darth Vader's red. But does Obi-Wan's? I guess he does still have his lightsaber, right? I'm getting confused. I keep thinking of the original movies and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original movies as opposed to the prequels, which is weird because we just watched the first prequel movie, and I should have Ewan McGregor, but honestly, Ewan McGregor is not like. In that movie, we'll get into this in a second when we talk about The Phantom Menace, it's all Qui-Gon in that movie. Ewan McGregor is kind of a side character. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that to me, that's the money shot there. But there's another shot in here that's interesting, and it's Vader sitting, talking to somebody on a hologram.
This one?
Yeah, it looks like have they blocked it out on purpose?
Of who it is? Yeah, I think so. Come on. Yeah, that's somebody that we would recognize. It's probably Boba Fett or something.
Who would it be? Who would he be talking to? But he's sitting and not kneeling.
Right. It's a throne. It's clearly a throne, right?
Yeah, he's not. I don't think it's the Emperor, but I think it's I think they could have shown us who it is, but they're not.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. So we got that. We got lots of other concept art of like just kind of streetscapes and
maybe Coruscant.
Yeah, this looks like Tatooine, like this shot here of just like them coming off the ship.
Ooh, that's a Wookiee.
Where?
In the lead, in front of the stormtroopers?
No, I don't think so. That looks like a Death Trooper of some kind of.
Oh,
it's not a Wookiee.
Pardon me. From where I'm sitting, it looked like a Wookiee. Pardon me.
You had $1 for every time you said that.
It looked like a Wookiee.
From where I was sitting, it looked like a Wookiee. But that's all we have here. So basically, it's just some concept art and a quick interview with Ewan, Deborah Chow, and Kathleen Kennedy. That's it. Is that enough? Are you happy with this? Are you excited?
I would have loved to see just a little bit of footage, just a touch.
We saw some rehearsal footage. We saw them rehearsing. They're fighting. That's pretty much it. We did not see much else as far as behind the scenes go.
Well, I mean, I'm happy that they confirmed 2022.
Yeah, December 29th, 2022. Are we waiting a full year until this comes out?
They only provide the year. They don't provide the month. And I think Book of Boba Fett might not have been December if they hadn't said so.
Right.
I think they just crammed it in to get that first, like to live up to the promise.
Right. But now they're not promising that anymore.
No.
They're not giving us a month just in case it might not be done in time for March or whatever month they were going to do it. So anyway, all right. Well,
what do you think? Are you what do you think of this sizzle reel?
Well, I mean, it's not giving us much. I am excited about the series. I do feel like it's, probably going to be towards the end of next year. I don't think it's going to be early because I think we're going to get Cassian Andor first, although we have not got a sizzle reel for that yet, which is weird.
Well, the day isn't over for Disney Plus while we're recording this. And I think there could be, it would not surprise me at all if there's one more thing today where some Star Wars something or other that they were withholding until the end. So I guess we'll see what happens, but I think there could be something else, and that would be, my money would be on that.
Okay, well, we'll see, and so if that happens while we're recording, we'll talk about it. Keep an eye on Twitter. I guess you've been watching Twitter for this.
Well, I've seen your screen has taken up my screen at this point.
Sorry, I'll get.
No. That's good though, but that's good because I can actually see what you're talking about.
Okay.
most times when we're talking and it's like on the tiny little thing and it's kind of like, what? So you know how I just thought a Death Trooper was a Wookiee? Most days it's like worse than that. Most days I'm like, I'm like squinting. I'm getting LASIK surgery while you're showing me.
Okay, so I'll keep an eye on the Star Wars Twitter handle, and we'll see if they announce anything else. Now, the other thing they announced today, of course, was I guess it dropped on Disney Plus. Was the short documentary about Boba Fett? It's actually oops. I want to get out of that and go back to the homepage. And this is called Under the Helmet, The Legacy of Boba Fett. It's a little 20-minute documentary, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a nice 20-minute doc. I was kind of expecting something longer, to tell you the truth. I was expecting like a 1-hour documentary that ended with more scenes from the new show, but we did not get that.
I think they could have. I mean, maybe they thought that people wouldn't want one that long or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think they have enough footage to show us an hour's worth of stuff. But I loved what they showed us. I loved that they showed us that first, like it started right at the beginning, the very first like costume, the white costume of Boba Fett, the appearance in the parade in Marin County Parade with Darth Vader at the time, which is like in the late 70s before he even showed up in a movie. Like just so cool how that stuff all happened just because George Lucas wanted it to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like seeing that test footage with the dude in the white armor. I can't get enough of that. That's always great. And it's they only show us, they did not address the change in voice from one edition to the other, so that was left out. It wasn't exhaustive, let's just say that.
Yeah.
They take us through like the main points. I almost saw it and most of that stuff I've seen before and heard the stories. It was a new interview with George Lucas, though, it appeared.
Yes.
So that was like delightful to see. That probably made me the happiest. Like, George has something new to say. Great. Like, bring him back more for this stuff. Let him direct a damn episode of The Mandalorian or something already.
Oh, yes.
Like, let's rip the Band-Aid off. You know what's coming, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. He's seeing. I know that George Lucas is seeing all the stuff coming out and going, man, I would love to get into this again. And why not? Like, why not bring him back and do that, right? Yeah, that was nice to see. I was excited about that, seeing him, and you can tell it's a new, like, he's lost weight, I guess. He's looking good. So yeah, good to see George. Another part about and yes, I did also know a lot of these stories and hear all this kind of stuff, but I liked that it was all kind of collected in one place and it was all focused on Boba Fett, because usually you find those things as an aside, like during the making of Empire Strikes Back documentary behind the scenes thing, you would see a lot of that kind of stuff that they would talk about with Jeremy Bulloch and that stuff. So but yeah, that was a lot of fun, and they kind of showed every different iteration of Boba Fett over the years, including the holiday special, which is, I think, the first time I've ever seen George Lucas talk about the holiday special ever on camera, right? And
dismissively. Well, we didn't really have anything to do with it, but there was this thing that you might have heard of.
And we figure, why not put Boba Fett in that? And it's like the best part of the holiday special is the one thing that he just suggested they do.
Yeah. And I also like, that's right. And I like people like villains. That's it. Like, that's beginning, middle, end. That's why he's success. That's why this character is successful. People like villains. Next.
The way George Lucas describes it is I liked him and he was a good character, but he doesn't say why he was a good character. And I think that what this documentary says is that he wasn't necessarily a good character. He was just a really cool looking character.
Yeah.
And it's all about the look. Like, that was really all he had going for him for this entire time. It's just about the armor.
Yeah. I mean, that's been pointed out so many times that he's a cool, he's got cool moves. He's got cool armor. He's got the best uniform in Star Wars, probably, arguably. Well, Darth Vader's is pretty good, but
yeah.
but it's intriguing in the fact that they gave him very little to do. And I remember the big complaint after I saw Return of the Jedi with my friends was he goes into the Sarlacc like a little baby, like he's like a crying baby going into the Sarlacc. And I think because he's screaming when he goes down. And I remember that was the one thing that my friend told my other friend as a spoiler after Return of the Jedi. He's like, "You'll never guess who dies. Boba Fett." So
like a little baby.
Right. And it turns out, like, decades later, we found out my friend did not spoil it for him because Boba Fett's alive.
Yeah, I love that. Again, I love that part of the documentary, them showing the behind the scenes of that, them shooting that, right? When they get the stunt guy in the thing and then they throw him across the sky just for that one shot of him flying across and slamming into the side of the skiff. Oh, it's so good.
It is good.
Yeah, it was such a great little, and again, it was like, and then they get into the, they talk about Tamir Morrison and him playing Django. And again, George is like, I just thought I'd do it again. Make him Jango Fett. Make him Boba's dad. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Like, everybody who and we're guilty of this, of course, who dissects everything about Star Wars and dives into it and tries to figure out why. There is no why for most of this stuff. It's just because George Lucas liked it. That is majority of the choices made in Star Wars. It's because George liked it. And that's one of the reasons why it's so good.
Yeah. And I like seeing Daniel Logan again. Daniel Logan
yes.
talking about he thought he was going to get, they showed him opening the book and going, wow, opening the book of Boba Fett and goes, wow, as he looks in and he's like, I'm going to get a jetpack. I'm going to get and then the old Daniel Logan is like, well, I didn't get a jetpack.
He had a blue jumpsuit. That was all he had.
He had some interesting insight into Tamora Morrison's acting stuff. Like, you're my son. I'm going to call you son. I'm your dad. You're going to call me dad. And then they cut to the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like it really worked. That was very good advice.
The final few minutes were very promotional and stuff. And I don't know why Kathleen Kennedy has to be in these things. Like, I don't know that I would rather hear from George, like I know I'd rather hear from the person that I know she's in charge of it now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not like it was her idea to start the show.
Well, she's got the corporate speak down, and that's why. Yeah, it's nobody ever wants to hear the corporate speak, like we're thrilled, we're pleased to announce, like all of that stuff. No one wants that. They want somebody to give them the straight talk, the straight dope on what they're gonna be seeing. So somebody has to be that PR person, and so she is that PR person.
Yeah, I guess so. She's a talking head. So.
I actually one other thing I have to point out was Tamira Morrison looked like he could kick our ass from here to Kingdom Come. He looks like he's been, I don't know, has he worked out all this time?
Yes, 20 years. He's been spending the last 20 years on it, just pumping iron. He's jacked.
He looks like the guy at the gym who you just do not want to cry. Like if he walks up to you and you're on a machine, you're like, I was planning to leave here anyway. And you walk away. So he looks like a tough customer boy. And then even when they show the flashbacks from Attack of the Clones, and he looks like a boy compared to what he looks, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's been a while.
He must have been, I don't know how old he is now, but yeah, he would have been in his 30s maybe back then, or maybe late 20s. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting question. I wonder how old he was in Attack of the Clones. We're gonna have to look it up, but
yeah, we're not gonna look it up right now though. Yeah. All right. So there we go. So we had that documentary, and then of course, now we're just waiting for the series to come out.
Yeah, like that's exciting. We're on the cusp of seeing it. Mm-hmm. We're going to be on Christmas vacation when it comes out. In fact, we'll already be putting our outlines together for the first week of school. The 15-hour process that results in nobody reading an outline.
This is going to be it's going to be good to have the show running in January when I just need the escape of something like this to get my mind off of the drudgery of every day. Like life in Winnipeg in January is not great because it's so cold and just not fun. But this will be a great distraction, I think.
Well, when I was a kid, all I used to do is imagine Hoth.
Right.
I'd like have my park on and I'd be like falling in the snowdrifts and stuff. And I'd be like Luke. Fell in a snowdrift just like I did. And then I'd look up and I'd be like, Ben, like that's what you have to do. You have to do it all winter long to keep it fresh. Imagine the walkers coming at you.
Recreate that whole scene. Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. All right. Okay. So we also are rewatching, as we've talked about before, rewatching the first 6 films, and we watched the Phantom Menace this week. You said you have like 10 things. Do you want to go through them one at a time, or how do you want to come at this? Overall thoughts. Let's start with some overall thoughts on the film.
That's kind of what I have listed, but I mean, you go first. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I would say that now it is, I would say the scenes that are good are excellent. Like that to me is the biggest part of this. And it does, and that opening sequence of them coming to the ship and fighting those droids, I know it kind of seems lame in comparison to other Star Wars, but I still like it. I still think that opening sequence is pretty solid, and it does kind of bring me back to the theater when I first saw it. And that was still a magical evening, even though the movie itself is not great as a whole. I think I still remember like having a great time walking and watching that scene when they came in and Obi-Wan says, "I have a bad feeling about this." I laughed out loud in the theater. That was like, and I think I was the only one who laughed at that for some reason. I don't know why nobody else. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I think of when I watch that opening part. And then 8 minutes in, I looked, it gets boring, really freaking boring, really freaking fast. And that is the problem. And I think we've mentioned this before, like just the scenes in which people are just sitting there talking and blah, blah, blah. It's just too much of that. So it's like, the movie gets off to a good start, in my opinion. And then just at the 8 minute mark, just comes to a screeching halt while they do all this kind of Trade Federation crap. And then it kind of picks up again when they get to Tatooine, and that's really when I start getting really invested in it. When they bring in Anakin, and even though the actor isn't great and the performance isn't great, I like that whole scene leading into the pod race and everything like that. So once we get to Tatooine, I'm more invested. But it was tough. I turned it off once before we got to that part. Like I got to about just before that, and I'm like, okay, I'll come back to this later, and I won't have to just do something else. So
I was just gonna say, I agree with you. I think the film opens well.
Yeah.
Like that's a good scene. And I like they've got a droid who isn't C-3PO to establish that you can have similar looking droids who aren't the ones that you think they are. And I sort of like how it all gets going. But you're right, like when it very quickly runs out of gas. Like they could have kept that vibe going. It would have been more interesting, I think, because it just slows right down.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we pick up and then it gets a little bit better. I thought it was funny. And one thing I noticed was interesting is during the pod race scene, which is I think one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars. I love that pod race scene. They cut from a shot from Little Greedo, I guess, right? That's supposed to be Little Greedo. Did they ever say that?
Not anymore. No, it was at one point it was Little Greedo. You can see the deleted scene, but it's not anymore. It's
okay, so it's just another Rodian. Yeah, another anyway. So, but it was played by Warwick Davis, right? Warwick Davis played that guy and played another guy who was next to Jabba, I think, or something like that, right? Another guy who was like in the crowd, and they cut a shot of that Greedo character, that little guy. They cut basically from one Warwick to another Warwick. I thought that was kind of cool, as they went right from him to another one, just to I don't know, in the sequence or whatever of shots, and I like that. I thought it looks really good. I wasn't expecting it to look as good as it did. Like the CGI and everything still kind of holds up. I really, really thought that was
There's
good.
A few notable exceptions, but you're right. Like most of it's pretty good. The Jar Jar does not hold up. I mean, we all know that. I mean, to even dwell on it is beside the point.
Yeah.
But there's a few of those shots that kind of don't look convincing anymore. And I don't know if they ever did.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And it's funny because some of those aliens that are CGI, like Sebulba is excellent. Yes. It very well looks excellent, looks great. The sound is great, the voice and everything. And then, for some reason, Jar Jar just doesn't look as good. And maybe it's the design. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say.
The one thing I'll say about Jar Jar, but then we can move on from him, is that there really is no reason for him to be in the movie after they leave Naboo. Like, why does he come with them when they leave to go?
There's exposition for that, but it doesn't hold up.
There is no. It's like he's just gonna tag along. That's really what it was,
right?
And I just don't like that. I mean, if you want to make him, and the other thing that occurred to me as watching it is that this really does feel like a kids movie. Don't you think? Like the dialogue
for sure, yeah.
The Jar Jar, but even the dialogue is very simplistic. The ideas in this film are very, other than the political ideas, but just kind of some of the characters seem very simplistic. I just think it's kind of aimed at kids more than anything else. And I think George Lucas has said that he made these movies for his kids, and that's kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, like I sort of I made my little list here, but I sort of summarized like I agreed with you totally about the great moments. Darth Maul, the set design, Duel of the Fates, John Williams score, lightsabers melting steel, the Jedi speed walk.
Yes,
like a bunch of stuff that we never saw before. I'm like, yes, I love all that stuff. But then Jar Jar signing a treaty. And Natalie Portman, I'm sorry, but she is not having a good time at all in this movie. I don't know what happened. She's a good actor. She's proven she's a good actor time and again.
Has she won an Oscar or nominated for an Oscar, or did she win?
Nominated, but I don't think she won.
Black Swan?
I don't think. Did she win for that?
I don't remember, but certainly nominated. Certainly, and you're right. Yeah. She's an excellent performer, but that's not surprising. And I would say that across the board, the performances seem pretty wooden, with the exception of Liam Neeson, who's excellent. Just so good. And I just want more Qui-Gon watching this film. I just want another movie with just him. Like, let's do a Qui-Gon series. Forget Obi-Wan. Let's get Qui-Gon back in there.
Yeah, and can't Qui-Gon? I think we'll see something, some hologram or something, with Qui-Gon, something, a message from the past, a ghost, something, because it's just not like I'll never forgive J.J. Abrams for like recording all their voices, but not showing them in Rise of Skywalker, which is just like, come on, like what a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like let's have some Qui-Gon. Let's have a series. That'd be so good.
Yeah, it's just so, I don't know. He stands out as being just a really like, and I think that, you know, you can try and put yourself in the position of these actors who are obviously trying to act against green screens and stuff that they'd never done before. But he's a guy who still managed to get it done and managed to look like he's actually talking to a real person when he's talking to Sebulba or Jar Jar or anything like that.
Totally.
What else? What's on your list? What else is on your list?
Well, Dan, I want to give you an impression.
Okay.
Here we go. Our volunteers will be no match for. There's too many of them. I do not agree. Looks pretty bad. We have no army. Who am I?
You're Captain Panaka.
I sure am.
And okay, so go.
Naysayer.
How many? Did you count how many?
Well, that was just like a sample.
I started doing that too, and then I stopped midway through. But I was doing it. And I was going to count all the Captain Panaka naysaying.
Oh,
I do not agree. I do not agree with the Jedi on this.
Yeah, I do not agree. No, we can't do it. We'll be no match. He's so depressing. Send him to the Empire already.
Right. And here's the other thing I question I have about Captain Panaka. At one point, when they're going into the town to look for the parts they need for their Nubian and all that other stuff, and then Panaka comes out with Padme as the handmaiden, not as the queen, and says, you know, Queen wants to send a handmaiden with you. Does Panaka know that that's Amidala? Is he clueless, or does he know? He should know, right?
There's a lot of that in the Phantom Menace, where, but even the part where it's like, no, I'm the queen or whatever, and you see like, and even Obi-Wan's like, oh, ha 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 ha, and you're kind of like, what is going on? Like, who didn't see this coming? Like, it's absurd.
The idea behind the decoy is confusing. It would make more sense. Is it the next one where they actually try to kill her, or they actually do kill the decoy?
Yeah, the beginning of Attack
of the Clones. So I mean, I guess that maybe that's why they're setting it up for that part of it in the next movie. But I just find that, like, for example, they're on the ship flying from one point to the other. Why is she still pretending to be the queen at that point, right? Like, they're on the ship with everybody, you know. Like, I understand in the public space where, you know, lots of people and the chances of assassination, you want a decoy, but there's no reason to have it in the ship, right? So that just seems kind of weird.
Yeah, that does not land. Whatever they intended for that. And I remember that was the thing that bugged me. I remember logging into some, what was it? There was like a big website back then when it came out. I don't remember the name of it now. And I remember asking, like, you could ask questions from the guy running the website. And I was like, is that supposed to be, we're in on it, that's the queen, or the audience is not in on it? Like, what's the assumption here? And he was like, I remember he went, I don't know. And I'm not even sure if it's the same actor playing both roles. Like, it was so confusing at the time. Wasn't it what's her name playing the other role? It's Keira Knightley.
Yeah, but she thought she was playing the queen or something stupid. Well, there was a thing that came out a while ago.
Everybody's confused. Like, I remember when we first watched it, because we didn't realize what they were trying to do was a switcheroo. And so when you watch it the first time, you're like, yeah, is that Natalie Portman in a dual role? Like, what is it? Are they twins? Like, what are we supposed to be thinking here?
And also because we knew going into it that Natalie Portman was playing that role, and that, you know, we know what she looks like. We've seen her in other movies, so we knew that was her. Again, it was very confusing, and not really. There's no real payoff for that, except for that point where they do kill the decoy, right? And but in that case, that makes more sense.
Figures were out already. We knew the action figures were Padme and the Queen Amidala, and it was the same actor.
That's right. Anyway, that's a weird thing. So we got Captain Panaka. I like Captain Panaka now. I think it's hilarious. I mean, I laugh at it, but at the time it was kind of weird with this one guy saying all these naysaying things. What else is on your list?
I agreed with you. Taxation of trade routes, signing treaties, and congressional debates are frickin' boring. They're awful. They're no more. More.
Yeah, find a more exciting way to reason to start a war than that. I mean, I think what they're getting at is that's how wars begin, and that's true. But it's not great for movies.
And how about all of the insults about the size and weight of one's brain? Are you brain dead? Are you brainless? You humans think your brains are so big. Like,
You're right.
What's going on with all the brain? You're dumb. You're stupid. Like that. There's a whole lot of that.
Wow. It's interesting, eh? I don't know.
That's just to me like weak writing right there.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
And then a special note about John Williams' music is way better than the film, than what the film demands.
Yes.
The aliens with the Chinese accents, that's aged even worse than, and people didn't like it at the time, but now it is a little painful to sit there and listen to that. What do you think of the big fish eating the little fish twice?
That was stupid. It's all stupid. That whole idea, the whole sequence. And that did not look real, by the way. I did not think that any of that underwater stuff looked like, I mean, it looks fine for CGI and everything, but it didn't look like a real thing, you know?
Well, it could have been a good idea and a funny joke just gets dragged out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was not great.
There's a lot of crap jokes.
Yeah.
Doo-doo, poo-doo, fart jokes, and Jar Jar steps in crap. That's not good. Why is Anakin the happiest slave in the galaxy?
Yeah, he's very
plucky. He's a plucky. He's got charisma, that little Anakin, but he's a slave. He's a slave,
and he gets to go home. Like it's like he's a slave, and it's like, okay, just clean up and then you get to go home. Like it's not really the like slavery as I guess we know it. It's not a bad slavery, I guess, is what they're trying to say. It's like a job that he just doesn't get paid for.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that as well. So I don't know.
My last insight here is that the title of the film is The Phantom Menace. There is nothing in the way of foreshadow. Like it's very, very light in terms of foreshadowing the actual menace.
Right.
Like the scenes that foreshadow the Phantom Menace, the actual menace that we're going to see throughout the rest of the rest of the Star Wars film, that those scenes with Darth Maul and Darth Sidious are good scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's very little. And I always think when I watch that pod race, why doesn't, like, it should be the Phantom Menace should be the Phantom Menace to Anakin too. Like Anakin should be going, why do I have these powers? Like they scare me. I don't know what I'm doing with these powers. And like, I'm worried that one day I'm going to hurt somebody with these powers. Like that's the Phantom Menace, right? Like it shouldn't be, it's like almost non-existent in the film.
Yeah, that's true.
Give us more.
Yeah, I definitely wanted more Darth Maul than we got, and again, I was very upset when he died. Like it was, I know it's nice knowing that he does come back eventually, but at the time when I first saw this film, I was not happy.
He should have been the bad guy for all three.
Right. Yes, like Darth Vader was in the first trilogy. Right. One thing, they bring up midichlorians in this, and I don't have as much of a problem with midichlorians as I used to. I feel like midichlorians, it was what they were trying to do is maybe not explain what causes the force, but I think they're trying to convey it's a measurement of your strength of the force. I think that's what they're trying to get to, right? Because the line is something like his midichlorian count is higher than Master Yoda's. And so the implication there is that Master Yoda has an incredibly high midichlorian count because he's super strong in the force. So it's not that the midichlorians cause that. I think that's how a lot of people took that at the time. I don't know, but I mean, I don't think there was a lot of people out there who just didn't like the idea of explaining anything around the force, right? So there's that as well. But I don't know what else they could have done. I mean, he feels that he's strong in the force. Like Qui-Gon feels that Anakin is strong in the force. So that should be enough. It's enough for Obi-Wan in the old movies, right? It's enough for, I don't know. When you feel somebody is strong in the force, that's enough. That's all you need. You don't need to test anything.
You need training.
Right. Yeah.
Not blood count.
not a women's bic to contact them with. So So I don't know what else. It's I'm glad we watched it. Obviously, you have to kind of watch it. I feel like it's kind of like a chore at this point, that you have to watch it. There's the machete order, which ignores it completely. I don't know that you need to do that, because there are still some excellence. There's some great Star Wars in this film, but it's not one that I come back to a lot at all. I only ever watch it when I make myself do a full rewatch of the series, whereas I will watch Empire Strikes Back just off the, and if I feel like it, or I'll watch Return of the Jedi, or even Solo or something like that, I'll watch out of the blue, but I'll never just like, oh, I feel like watching the Phantom Menace today. I will never do that.
I think doesn't Topher Grace's famous cut starts with the battle with Darth Maul, I think.
Yeah.
That's the opening scene. And if you think of it that way, I thank him forever for that idea, because it's a good idea. Like, you opened what's going to be the next Star Wars, or the prequel Star Wars trilogy, with that scene, and you don't even know who anybody is. You just see the scene unfold. Like, oh my God, like that would have blown people away. People would have liked the film better on that basis alone, on the basis of like, holy crap, it knocked my socks off, that opening scene. So I think like a rearrangement of the elements would go a very long way to making that a better film. And I think, didn't Topher Grace make all three movies one movie? The three prequels one movie?
I think that's what he did, is he took the three prequels and edited them down to one film. And so if he starts with that scene, that he cuts most of the Phantom Menace, I think is what he ended up doing for that. And yeah, that's because you don't need a lot of what's in this movie. You really don't.
No, you really don't. I mean, and it's more interesting to watch and think about what's going on behind the scenes. Like, did Lucasfilm think this was a bad film before it came out? Like that, like, do they call it the Phantom Menace because they thought people are going to see this and they're not going to understand like what's happening? They're not going to understand what the conflict is, or they're not going to understand like where this is leading. And if we call it the Phantom Menace, they'll look at the film longer and harder to find the menace. Like, honestly, is that where that comes from?
I don't know. I don't think I have never put too much thought into the actual title of Phantom Menace. It's just the title of the movie, and I just never thought about it beyond that. I don't think they thought it was a bad movie. I think they thought it was awesome. I think that CGI was groundbreaking, and it was exciting, and it was all new, and it must have been incredibly exciting to be on set during that. The actors notwithstanding, the actors probably hated it, but everybody else probably loved it. And I think that, and I think they were all drinking George's Kool-Aid, and they all thought it was excellent, right? Like, and George was probably really, that kind of like enthusiasm is infectious, and that's kind of how he gets people going on all the other Star Wars movies. So that's what he did this time. And yeah, but there was no, I think the only problem is that there was no, dissenting voices saying, hey, what if we don't have Jar Jar Binks in this movie? Right. And nobody said that to George. So
no, but I think I do believe that there was, I can't remember where this came from, but there's a behind the scenes showing the Anakin's auditioning, all the Anakins.
Yeah.
And the legend was, and I can't remember where I got this though, was that somebody said that the kid can't act. Somebody said Jake Lloyd can't act, and they cut it in the behind the scenes, that part they cut out. Now, how do I know this? I don't remember. I don't remember where I heard this, and I don't remember, like, without knowing, it sounds just like it's an urban legend. But for some reason, I think it was somebody who worked on the film who had that story.
Well, I mean, he can't, or he couldn't.
Well, I mean, you can't blame a kid.
No, he can't, but I would blame the casting director who hired him.
Well, and George Lucas is not known as an actor's director.
No, he's not.
He's the guy who he's like, good enough, whatever. Like, just say these words.
Yeah.
The old Harrison Ford line, you can write this, but you can't say it.
Right.
And it's funny. It's a good line.
Yeah. I think that's about it. Yeah, I don't have anything else here. That's all the notes I have.
Hey, what's your overall rating?
Oh God, how are we rating this? Out of
5 stars?
Out of 5 stars, I would give it a 2.5.
I give it a 2.
Okay.
We're on the same. Yeah, we're on the same page. It's not. So I give it a slight F. I tip the scale toward F.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got me on a good day, I think I'd go with what you just said.
Yeah. It will depend on your mood.
Yeah. Well, there's snow outside, so I'm going to err on the side of F.
That sounds great. Before we go, I want to mention that I did see a Boba Fett figure at Best Buy.
Ooh.
And I took a photo of it, and I'm just trying to find it now. It was cool. It's a black series. It says Star Wars Return of the Jedi, and it's Boba Fett with, and I don't know if you have this or not. It's he has now it looks like he comes with his jetpack, and that you can add kind of. I'll take this off so you can see bigger, so you can see bigger.
Oh,
can you see
I've
that?
seen that.
Have you?
Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of cool accessories in there, right? It's got like it's got all of his little toys.
See, I've got a special edition one that I think was a Comic-Con exclusive, and it's got all of that and even more. I think it's even got the carbonite.
Oh, okay.
It's got it all. Like it's like the ultimate. And so as a result, I'm kind of like I'm good. Although I probably did buy the first Black Series one just to have.
Yeah.
At the time, I was trying to be a completist, which is just impossible now. But that is a nice looking figure. I like that figure.
Now, do you think they're going to? This says Return of the Jedi. You think they're going to release? Obviously, they're going to release another one for the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes, and they should. They should like keep them coming. I don't know what. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on what's going I mean, a part of it's probably just shipping issues.
Oh, for sure.
But Hasbro. Like, I'm not sure what Hasbro's up to these days. Like, we're seeing new merch, but we're not seeing, it's not like you see an aisle anymore in the store. You're just like, oh, there's a couple here. There's a couple there. So I don't know. Is it selling? Is nobody buying toys anymore? Like, I don't know. It'd be an interesting discussion. I'm not buying, I buy the occasional thing still, but I cannot. I want to retire one day. So I'm not gonna keep. I'm more inclined to sell something.
That's what I'm saying. You sell your collection so then you can retire.
I don't really want to sell it. It's just that I don't want more of it.
You can't sell it. You can't keep it. What are you gonna do with it?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to set up a booth somewhere. Quest.
What you should do is charge people admission to your house to come look at it, and just.
I don't think I could do. My friend's got the Yoda room, and I think the Yoda museum is a little more appealing as a museum.
Yeah,
some guy.
We didn't mention it during that Boba Fett documentary. There's that great scene where they go to the Rancho Obi-Wan, and he's got all the Boba Fett toys, and that was so cool. Just seeing all that. I definitely want to go there. We have to go
me too.
to Rancho Obi-Wan. That looks so cool.
Oh, I'd love to. I love how every time they interview him, he's got to like introduce what he does and. What this thing is like, every single time he's got to explain what it is.
Yeah.
So
we know, Steve. It's okay.
Yeah, that's his fate.
All right. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Okay, we're just jumping back on. We had stopped recording. We're jumping back on because I just found that there's a 3-minute something of Willow. Which is Lucasfilm related.
And I just said, oh, F. I dropped the F-bomb. Because I was like, how did I miss that? What time was that?
Maybe it just went up. Maybe it was while we were talking. I don't know. Anyway, okay,
Right.
I'll just share my screen here so you can see.
Hello. Yes, it's me, world-famous actor Warwick Davis. I'm thrilled to be coming to you from the set of the brand new sequel series to my most popular role, Willow. Yeah, we heard you die-hard Willow fans. The Willow Mongers, the Willing Me Softlies, the Low Boys. You get the idea. We're still workshopping fan-based names for that. Anyway, they've asked me to introduce you to the phenomenal cast, or supporting cast, that will be joining me on a brand new adventure. Well, let's go meet them. Okay, so we'll start with this handsome young fella, who is, all right, don't touch. Oh. Go on then. Tell me your name.
Dempsey.
No, your first name.
Dempsey is my first name. Brick is my last name.
Oh. Good luck with that. So, Arma, what does it feel like to be carrying the torch for a whole new generation of fans who may not remember the movie?
There's a movie? Of this?
Yeah, Willow.
Who's in it?
Me. Directed by Ron Howard.
Ron Howard?
Oh, yeah. Ron Howard,
From
of
Arrested
course.
Development.
Oh, that's good.
Is he narrating this?
He isn't.
Now, Ellie Bamber, tell us about the first time you saw Willow in the cinemas. A lovely anecdote, this.
Oh, I wasn't born. Wait, so what are they going to do with your face for this?
What do you mean, my face?
quite a bit older now. Are they going to, like, Irishman your face with computers?
No, Ellie, they're
or
not
what?
going to Irishman my face. Some time has passed since the first movie, and a huge part of this story is how good Willow looks for his age. Keep up, Ellie. Read the new pages. I'm professional. Look at this guy. So you may recognise him.
I'm Tony.
Yeah, he's done some, what have you done? Student films, Insta stories, TikToks and the like, yeah?
Yeah. I just want to say I'm also a huge fan. My dad and I actually watched Willow back in the day when I was a kid, and I grew up loving it, man. It was great. You know, my second favorite fantasy adventure.
Cool.
Behind Lord of the Rings.
You got to stop there after Willow is great.
Oh.
I'm Ruby Cruz.
Ruby Cruz.
Hey, yeah.
Wow, Ruby Cruz. That's a hell of a stage name. You getting that, Dempsey?
Yeah.
Now I know you, don't I?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm Erin. I was in Solo with you.
No, that's actually the one Star Wars movie I haven't seen.
Oh.
But it's great to have you back for this one.
You know this isn't Star Wars, though, right?
So there you have it. The young, or younger, supporting cast of the brand new Willow series coming next year to Disney+. No, hang on. It's Warwick. No,
Warwick.
It's not, isn't it? Shh, shh, shh. Longer once. Warwick.
Warwick.
No, forget the W.
Warwick.
Not the first
Warwick.
W, the middle one. Warwick.
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 I think I'm getting it.
All right.
Please.
We got it.
It's like an update of Life's Too Short.
It's it really was, right? It makes me feel
Freaking
about like
hilarious.
I feel like what's his name should show up.
Gervais.
Yeah, exactly.
Gervais and Stephen Merchant.
That was awesome. I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's great. No footage though.
No, of course not. They just like that's just during their lunch break. They're just sitting around a picnic table during lunch. But it's interesting that what's her name, Erin Kellyman, who played Memphis Nest in Solo and has a very similar role in The Falcon and Winter Soldier. I wonder if she's going to be playing a terrorist in this one.
She specializes in roles where you take off helmets and long hair spills out and everybody goes, ooh, it's a lady.
That's right.
So I have a feeling that we're going to see a helmet coming off.
It's got to be some sort of.
Call it now.
She's got to be like a knight helmet or whatever. It's Willow, so it's got to be like medieval knights and stuff like that. It's exciting. I just rewatched Willow, I don't know, a couple months ago. Over the summer, I was watching it. Still a great movie, still holds up. And I am excited about this series. I can't wait. I also read the books. There was a series of books that came out by George Lucas and Chris Claremont. I think Claremont did the heavy lifting on that one. But it was good. And I don't know if they're going to follow that necessarily. But I'm excited to see any more stories being told in this universe.
Can you get Val Kilmer in there for even for a short scene, for something?
Yes.
I mean, we know that he's got issues based on health issues based on his recent documentary on Amazon Prime, which is great, called Val. But wouldn't it be nice? And by the way, that guy sitting at the table looks like he's playing his son. Has to be, right?
Yeah.
Val Kilmer lookalike from circa 1980 sitting at the table.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be nice to just have Val Kilmer in there for one scene?
Absolutely. And I think they could find a way to explain that he can't talk. Like that's the only thing really, is that he can't talk, right? Because he had throat cancer and he had to have that stuff, that his voice box removed. But I think we will see a Val Kilmer cameo in this. It's either that or he's died and that's his son continuing his legacy, right? But or even in a flashback we could see him. Like, come on, you gotta see some kind of Mardigan is the best part of that movie. Sorry, Warwick Davis, but you are not the best part of that movie.
Oh, he's amazing in there.
I just love how he's so like egotistical. It's just like the character he played of himself in Life's Too Short. So that's hilarious. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. I'm glad we did that. Now I'll just insert that seamlessly into the rest of the podcast.
That's great.
It's all good. All right. See you later.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Goodbye.
That's no move.
Now I am the master.